So the ERAS season is open and it's time for you to prepare your application. And one thing that you need to prepare would be personal statement. Now, that's why in this video I'm going to teach you how to write personal statement that will get you interview. Alright, so before we start, let's talk about how important personal statement in order to get you an interview. So personal statement is actually very important. It got the rating 4 out of 5 based on the NRMP data Program Director Survey. So you can check it, you can Google it. I can actually, I'm gonna just attach the link down below so you can just see for yourself that it got rating 4 out of 5 across specialties. It's very important. And the question is why it's so important. It's very simple actually, because the way the program select the applicants is by putting a cutoff score. So this is something that everybody knows. They put a cutoff score, maybe 240, 250 for step 2 CK, whatever that is. And then after that, they're gonna try to select the interview. And a lot of programs actually, instead of going to the ERAS and then read about your USCE or your publications, etc., they actually read your personal statement first. And then they go to letter of recommendations and then decide from there if they're going to extend you an interview. So not a lot of all the programs does that. I wouldn't say that because I don't actually ask an interview at what every program does, but I do know for sure that a lot of programs does that. And the reason is actually pretty simple. It's all about to see the other side of you. You see? So the score kind of tells the competence. The ERAS CV tells more about your competence, your publications, your volunteer experience, your work experience, your maybe you get some award or something. Those are just more ideas for competence. I already got the idea how smart you are based on the score. So I just need to see the other side of you, and that's your warm side. Do you have a good interpersonal skills? Do you have a great personal values that align to the program? Those are the things that the program director is looking for, and that makes completely total sense if they go jump to the personal statement and the letter of recommendations. The thing is, the letter of recommendations is kind of not fully in your control. Well, I mean, it was in your control, right? When you're doing the USCE, you do your best, you try to stand out, you try to show your communication and interpersonal skills, and hopefully whoever writes the letter of recommendations not only describe your competence, your knowledge as a physician, but also your interpersonal skills, and that's what they are looking for. But it's all done. It's already there. You know, you cannot really change, do much about it except for you who is about to go for another USCE maybe. But personal statement is different. Personal statement is fully in your control. You have full control on what are the ideas that you want to get across to the program. What are the things that you want to be seen as? What kind of impression that you want to give to the programs? So those are all in your control. You should have a theme of the personal statement. Do you want to be seen as somebody who is resilient, somebody who is adaptable, great adaptability? Do you want to be seen as someone who has a great critical thinking, great insight, high intellectual curiosity, or you want to be seen as somebody who is very compassionate and gentle? So the role of the personal statement is to connect with the readers, usually program directors or whoever review the applications, to give the chance to connect as a human being. If you think about it, this could very well be your first contact to the program as a human being, because before it's just a number like score or ERAS CV, which shows your publications, etc. It doesn't show the human side of you. The personal statement could very well be your first contact as a human being, to show what kind of person are you, to show the human side of you, and that is very important when you become a physician, right? Now we clear that out. Now you should understand how important, why it's important, and the role of personal statement. Once you understand this, it should make total sense how I approach on the personal statement. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 fundamental principles on how to write personal statement that will get you an interview. On top of that, I'm going to teach you 3 practical tactics that you can use immediately to make your personal statement really strong, stand out, and again, the goal is to get the interview. All right, so let's unpack. So the first fundamental principles is that the personal statement has to have a hook. Yes, a hook, something that captivates in the first couple sentences. So if it's not interesting in the first couple sentences, they're not going to read the rest. Okay, so it's very, very important. It's very similar actually with business, with people are selling, like, because you kind of like try to sell yourself. In business and selling, you need to have a great hook that makes people wants to read and wants to know more. Are you stuck in a cubicle in a 4x5, whatever the size is, and you feel like you want to get out and then make 7 figures a year with only working 8 hours a week? Yeah. So like a strong hook, something that really captivates. In business, they always do this. In sales, they always do this, because when you want to sell something, you want to give a strong headlines right at the very beginning, so they want to read the rest. So it's very, very important to have a great hook, a great captivating hook. Now, I'm just gonna give you a quick tactics right away. I personally like the personal anecdotes in the first paragraph as a hook. I think that works really, really well. I don't know if you watch Dr. House. There was this Dr. House episodes, which of course right now I don't remember which episodes and which seasons. There's so many, but there was this episode where it started in the bus and it's so mysterious. Don't know what happened. People are panicking, and then it cuts off and then it flashes back to the very beginning. So that's a great hook. It makes you interested to continue watching the episodes and see what happens next. Okay, so hook, very important, and I like to put the personal anecdotes actually in the beginning and give a very strong impression, and makes people wants to read and then continue to find out what's actually happened next. All right, now we move on to the second fundamental principle: story. It has to contain story. The reason is very simple. What did I say in the beginning, right? What we're trying to do is to connect to the readers as a human being, and the best way to connect is to give story. Okay, but I found that a lot of people give a not overly impactful story, and then the story is too bland and too dry. So you have to think a great story that is impactful and is meaningful for you and shape you and give you motivation and background that makes you the person who you are right now. Right? That kind of story. And I'm going to give you again a quick tactic about this that I see people make a lot of mistakes. They give it a very bland, like a story, and does not bring the story to life. The way to bring the story to life is to put who, where, what, when, what happened. Give us circumstances, give the atmosphere of the story, bring the story to life by providing some form of description, okay, about the situation at that time. I'm gonna give you a very quick example. So I can give you a story like when I was 7 years old, I saw an asthmatic person who was very short of breath and got the inhaler, and he is relieved right away. It gives me I'm making up something here. It gives me very interested with the world of medicine, something like that. Okay, now that is very dry. It doesn't bring the story to life. What actually happened? Why don't you describe a little bit more? A stronger story would be something like, when I was 7 years old, I see these people, this family, and surrounding this patient surrounded by the family, looks short of breath, and then the family was very, very worried. You know, I was a little bit scared at that time. I went and called my mother, who is a doctor, and then asked, Mom, is this person's gonna be okay? And then my mother said, well, just wait 10 minutes and we'll see. 10 minutes later, the patient's shortness of breath was relieved, and I see the relief of the face of all the family, and then I feel the greatness of medicine on that day. Something like that. I made it up on the go. Okay, but as you can see, we can bring the story more to life if we describe a little bit more about the situations. You know, what's the patient's face, the family's face, what are they feeling, where were you, you know, and then and all the situations there is. So if you want to make a story, you know, find an impactful story and then bring the story to life, bring the characters to life. It connects way better because our goal here is to connect, right? Now, we move on to the third thing. The third one is that it has to contain values. Yes, you can have a great hook, have great story, but if you copy a Harry Potter story, it doesn't mean anything, right? It has to be about you. That means it has to contain your values. And I would recommend not only not any values, but your personal values. But on top of that, not just your personal values, but your personal core values that would connect way better. Now you might be thinking, well, what kind of value that need to bring? Of course, the values that's related to the specialty that you're applying. And you're probably asking, yeah, but what kind of values? Like specifically, what kind of values that I have to bring into the to the personal statement? I can tell you, just go based on the ACGME core competencies. Okay? So you can Google it, and I'm probably gonna just put the link below. You can just read them. But these are some of them, okay? The critical thinking, ethical and compassion, resilience, adaptability, learning and growth, intellectual curiosity. There are some more. Okay, so this is going to become, like I said, the theme that you want to give to the program director. Okay, and those are the values, and hopefully one of those will be your values, right? That is you're not gonna say that I'm a compassionate person, right? You want to give an example. You want to imply it in the story that you give. So the story is impactful, and the story contains your values, and that's going to connect better. Now I'm going to give you another extra tip. In the ACGME core competencies, there are critical thinking, intellectual curiosity. I personally wants to shy away from those type of values because those values are more on the competence side, right? Does that make sense? We want to, the competence side is going to be covered with ERAS-CFE, and it will be covered by your score, basically. Now, so you want to give something else. The idea of the personal statement is to give something else that you cannot have, or information that you cannot have in the ERAS-CFE, and that will be your warm side. So I would like to pick the values that more humany, if that's even a word, that's more human-like. So something like your ethical or compassion, or your kindness, your gentleness. So it's more like your warm side, your interpersonal side, the one that's more human-like. And it's simple, because if you provide those kind of values, it connects better, and the program director gets the things that they're looking for, not only the competence part, but the warm side of yours, so it becomes complete. Make sense? So those are the three main fundamental principles, the three main things that I think you need to have in your personal statement. You need to have the hook, you need to have the story, and the story has to contain values, your personal core values that cover, hopefully, that covers the human side of yours. All right, great. Now we move on to the three practical things that I think you can just apply it immediately. Three tactics, three practical things that you can use inside your personal statement. Okay, so the first one is dialogue. Very simple. Dialogue. Put the dialogue inside your personal statement. So it's like the quote-unquote conversation between you and your mom, you with the doctor, just mention a dialogue. It really brings the story to life if there is such a dialogue. You can do a monologue as well. So for example, if you're, I don't know, you probably escaped from war, from Nazi or whatever that is, you can say a monologue. Well, I often think to myself, can I actually see sunlight the next day? Something like that. I'm just making it up on the go, okay? So you want to have that form of dialogue, whether with person, self-monologue, you put the quotation there, right? It really, really brings the story to life, okay? So that's one tip. Second tip, now, this second tip is actually, I review quite a lot of personal statement. People contact me through LinkedIn and then ask me to see the personal statement. And this is actually could be the most common, if not one of the most common, would be the most common mistakes that people make when they write personal statement. Too many sophisticated words. Too many sophisticated words. Please, no, please stop. Don't use sophisticated words. Use simpler words. Why? Well, which one? Well, let's just go back to the role of personal statement and what we're trying to do. We try to connect, right? We try to connect with the readers, the one that read it, to the programs. Which one connects better? Using sophisticated words or simpler words? You got your answer, right? Use simple words. They connect better. You don't need to try to look smart or fancy using a sophisticated words. Just use the simple words, okay, that it makes it easy for people to connect with you. So use simple words will explain much better. I'm gonna give you a quick example that I've seen in the personal statement. They have this very interesting. There's two personal statements, okay? They try to say the same thing, which is trying to say that I admire my mother, who is a doctor, and that affect me and wants me to become a doctor as well. Okay, so that's the exact same idea. Two different people, okay, with no connections whatsoever, but one person described it this way. I grew up seeing my mother attend patients with purpose, meaning, and grace. I don't even know what that means. With purpose, meaning, and grace. Okay, so the other personal statement mentioned it this way. I grew up witnessing my parents dedicating their time and knowledge to help others. Simple, right? I grew up witnessing my parents dedicated their time and knowledge to help others. The exact same idea, but one is so simple yet so strong. So again, avoid sophisticated words, do with simple words. Done. So that's my second tip. Now the last one is closure. So this is actually pretty common, probably a lot of you already know. So closure, you want to close the last paragraph, you want to tie back to the first one, provide a closure of the first paragraph. So it makes it connects and becomes a whole congruent story. These concepts allow you to have a strong beginning, because I mentioned to you, you need to have a strong hook, which I personally like if you start with the personal anecdotes in the first paragraph, and then on the last paragraph you close it out, kind of like circle back to the idea of the first paragraph and put a closure on it. So in my personal statement, I did that. So in my first paragraph is an anecdote regarding a patient that I actually failed to save, and then the family was very sad, but despite that they said thank you and appreciate what I did. And then at the last paragraph I mentioned that at the end I would like to hear the word thank you from the patient's own lips. So that's a closure of the first paragraph. The first paragraph, I failed to save a patient, and then on the last paragraph, I said, I would like to hear the word thank you from the patient's own lips, means I would like to save the patients on my next attempt, So that connects together and makes a strong closure. And another tip I want to give you is you want to create, if it's possible, and I would actually highly recommend this, to create some form of a punchline in the end, So it has a great beginning, and then when it's closed, it should circle back to the very first paragraph of the idea, close that idea with a strong punchline. You have to think about a great punchline, so it becomes impactful and memorable. All right, that's it. So those are the three fundamental principles to write personal statement. In addition, I give you 3 tactics. Now let me know in the comment which part of this video becomes an aha moment for you, that becomes a light bulb. Feel like this is very helpful for you to craft and draft your personal statement. Let me know in the comments, and I have a gift for you. You can go to www.juliushardy.com/personal statement. I'm going to provide the link down below. In there, you will find some sample of personal statements, and I'm going through them, and I put some analysis of those personal statements and try to put some feedback using the fundamental principles and tactics that I'm giving you today, so you can see it like in actions, how we can change the personal statement to become better, strong, and impactful. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.